So I'm not shy about this. I have a weird, kind of obsession, just belief in Jaylen Waddle. Like, I really do think that he is so much better than a lot of people even give him credit for. And I think part of that is he kind of went overlooked year one, even though he had a huge season with over 100 catches, over 1,000 yards. But then in year two, Tyreek Hill comes in and he gets, he has a better season, but I don't think he still got the credit that he deserved because now Tyreek Hill's there having an even better season than he had. And I'm here to talk to you about why you should expect even bigger things from Waddle. And we're going to start with an article. Then I'm going to go into some reasons that show why Waddle not only is going to be good next year, but can be a dominant player for years to come, and why I think he is truly one of the elite talents in the NFL. And if he wasn't on a team next to Tyreek Hill, I think everybody would be talking about how he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he doesn't get credit for that here. So Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jaylen Waddle credits mindset for his growth as a receiver. Got this from the Finsider. Always want to give credit where credit is due. And this is what we were talking about. In year one, he had 104 catches. But in year two, even though he caught 29 fewer passes, he caught 75, I believe it was. It was almost double the amount of yards per catch. So he ended with like 300 more yards. He averaged 18.1 yards per reception. This is glaring. This is glaring. This is absolutely shocking. He went from a season in 2021 where he had 104 receptions and 1,015 yards to a season in 2022 where he had 75 catches for 1,356 yards. His grades were better. His production was better. He went from averaging 9 something per catch to over 18. It is an insane jump and kind of unprecedented. So here's what he said his reason for that was. He said it was just a mindset. He said Coach Mike McDaniel came in and really harped on yak, yards after catch, if you don't know what yak is. Having a guy like Tyreek Hill, who's a yak monster, you don't got no choice but to learn from him and soak up all that game that he is giving. In other words, you see a guy, and when Waddle came out, a lot of people were actually saying, like, he's kind of like a Tyreek Hill type of guy. He doesn't have elite size, but he has absolute elite speed. And so now when you put them on a field together, it honestly looks like a cheat code. It really does. And here's what he also had to say. Waddle, while he nearly doubled his rookie season yards per reception, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa led the league with an average of 8.9 yards per pass attempt. Tua's accuracy, helped Waddle earn 802 of his receiving yards on targets deemed open, according to fantasy points data. And here's what Waddle said. I think everybody sees it, knowing exactly where to put the ball so his receivers cannot just catch it, but catch it and run with it, Waddle said. In other words, he's giving a lot of credit to Tua here. He's saying Tua is a baller and Tua knows what he's doing. And he's putting him in positions where not only is he just catching the ball, but he's catching it in stride. He's catching it wide open. So he's then able to use that elite speed to create a ton of yak yards. So I think a lot of us believe that all of it was just in the air, and a lot more of it was in the air. He had a completely different role this year. Ton of intermediate routes, that were good. And Hill's taking the top off the defense, or his job is to take the top off the defense, and Hill's running an intermediate route. It almost feels like a cheat code. 12 yards, catch the ball, run for another 6, do it again. And that was what it was like when the Miami Dolphins offense was humming. And that's what it looked like. But I'm here to tell you why I think he's even better than we might think. I want to tell you why he's even better than we might think. We know he had 75 catches. We know the 8 receiving touchdowns. We know the crazy yards per reception that he had. But here's what I don't think most people think about. Last year, his passer rating. So in other words, no, he can't have a passer rating, but the quarterback's passer rating when throwing to Jaylen Waddle was 91.9. It was 92, basically, a passer rating when throwing to Jaylen Waddle. That's not bad. Like, that's really good. But This past year, the passer rating when targeted was 122.6. On less pass attempts, you get more yards, you get more touchdowns. That's what happens. It was 122.6. To put that into perspective, your boy Tyreek Hill, the best receiver, the guy who had 119 catches, the guy who had 1,700 yards, just a monster, just putting up monster numbers, had a passer rating when targeted of 103.1. So when Tua, or fill in the blank quarterback, threw the ball to Jaylen Waddle last year, they had a passer rating almost 20 points higher than when throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. Which, by the way, was very similar to his numbers when he was in Kansas City the year before. Tyreek Hill had a 106.4 passer rating when targeted to him. So that's kind of what you're going to get from Tyreek Hill. But here's what we saw, and this is why I think people should be more excited about both Jaylen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Tua Tagovailoa, because you have Tyreek Hill, who was coming off of multiple good seasons, and then he got to Miami and just went off. We all remember Tyreek Hill talking last year about how Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL and how he's better, he's more accurate. We know Tua doesn't have the arm talent that Patrick Mahomes has, but he was saying how much more accurate he is. And in Miami, in McDaniel's offense, he put up 119 catches for 1,700 yards. That is his best year. It's the best year he's ever had. And part of that is because he's got Waddle next to him. Part of that is because of the offense. Part of that is because, like Waddle said, I think everybody can see it. Tua is accurate. When he throws it to us, we're open and he keeps us open, and it allows the receivers to do more. So that is, I think, what I want to talk about most in this video is Jaylen Waddle, but it also comes down and back to the Tua conversation. And I think last year when Tua left and either Bridgewater came in or somebody else, the drop was pretty drastic. And I think with White as the backup quarterback this year, the drop won't be as drastic. We'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But he had some success in a New York Jets offense that was really, really bad last year. And so I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like for the Dolphins. But let's hope that Tua doesn't have that. Tua's seeing jujitsu specialist to teach him how to fall so that he doesn't land and jar his head so much. Like, he's doing anything and everything he can to stay healthy and stay on the field. What I'm telling you is that Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to continue to produce even when Tua is not there. Maybe not quite as high of a level, but they will continue to produce. So, Fins fans, be pumped. Be pumped. Love it. If you like the channel, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of the Sports Talk Extra community. We would love to have you here. And if you have a comment, leave that below, and we will see you on the next one. We are only 2.5 weeks away from training camp. It's time. See ya.